Good morning, everyone. It's such an honor to be here today. I also want to extend my thanks to the Ministry of Natural Resources of the People's Republic of China and to the local government of Shanghai and to all the organizers and sponsors of this great event. I'd also like to give a special thanks to the other speakers and to President Grimson for his tireless efforts to bring a diverse group of people together for our shared mission to protect this planet and its people. So just a few days ago, a new study written by 400 leading scientists sounded an emergency call for nature and, in fact, for all humanity. The report's headlines are quite depressing. 1/3 of the world's fish stocks are overfished. If the world warms by another half of a degree, coral reefs will decline by at least 70%. 1 million species are at risk of extinction, many within the next few decades. While these statistics are sobering, we still have time to change the planet's direction. But we know we don't have much time. In fact, the IPCC report from December puts us all on a collective climate countdown clock. We have just over a decade to avert the worst impacts of climate change. In the 27 countries in which Conservation International works, including here in China, we approach these headlines and this urgent timeline not with hopelessness, but as an incredible challenge. The single most important challenge all of us in this room will face in our lifetimes. No matter if you're from Shanghai or from Seattle, every one of us must be all in and collectively commit to protect our shared planet. Our aim is not to halt economic progress, but to maximize humankind's innovation to develop without stabilizing our planet's natural systems. Today, as we gather in the epicenter of Chinese innovation at the Shanghai Science and Technology Museum, we should reflect on examples of Chinese leadership in environmental innovation. China's domestic renewable energy revolution is a shining example of what's possible when you go all in. China's innovative policy leadership in pricing carbon is critical for other nations, including my own, the United States, to emulate. However, as the world's largest CO2 emitter with over half of the world's annual coal burned here in China, there is still a long way to go to achieve China's own national targets under the Paris Accord and peak emissions by 2030. President Xi Jinping's transformative vision of an ecological civilization, one that we just heard a lot about, that protects nature and lives in harmony with it, can help usher a new dawn, an age of global green growth. But to achieve this ambitious vision, China's path forward must be one of radical collaboration and pursuing new types of partnerships between government, private sector, and civil society to tackle the twin threats of climate change and biodiversity loss. Conservation International has an extensive history in China, and we treasure our partnerships here. In particular, we are deeply grateful to the State Oceanic Administration and the National Forestry and Grassland Administration for our innovative partnership to protect mangroves in Guangdong Province, developing new revenue streams for the protection of these mangroves, or blue carbon. Mangroves and seagrasses store 10 times the carbon of tropical forests, and as a result are an exciting new opportunity to use nature's technology to reduce global carbon emissions. So preserving nature in China is not only about supporting iconic wildlife and maintaining vital natural resources for farming and local communities, it's also critical to reducing global carbon emissions. In fact, if China and the US and if the entire world stopped burning fossil fuels tomorrow, we still would not achieve our ambitious goals under Paris. Because deforestation in natural areas with high carbon, such as tropical forests, mangroves, and seagrasses, contribute at least 8% to annual global CO2 emissions. In 2018 alone, an area of 12 million hectares of tree cover, 20 times the size of the city of Shanghai, was lost forever. In fact, if deforestation were a country, it would rank third in emissions, only behind China and the United States. Stopping deforestation and restoring nature offers great opportunities for radical collaboration, combining government action, private sector investments, and civil society engagement. Conservation International seeks to partner with China as it embarks on its grand ambition for One Belt, One Road. By embracing the export of your own eco-civilization concept outside of China through the implementation of One Belt, One Road, China has an incredible opportunity for environmental leadership on the world stage, to promote best environmental and social practices for infrastructure projects, especially critical in East Africa and Indonesia, to expand renewable energy throughout One Belt, One Road countries, and to end the construction and promotion of energy from coal. Demonstrate continued leadership in forest restoration. The potential for forest restoration in the One Belt, One Road countries is tremendous. China should export its domestic leadership on forest restoration to these nations. And as the host of the next Convention on Biological Diversity in October of next year in Kunming, China has a unique opportunity to lead the world in the establishment of new ambitious targets for biodiversity conservation, including setting bold conservation goals in One Belt, One Road countries. So as the nations assembled here today embark on the expansion into the Arctic, arguably the most fragile ecosystem on our entire planet, the true ambition of this polar Silk Road will be undermined if we underestimate the fragility of this unique ecosystem and the incredible indigenous knowledge of the people who have been preserving the Arctic for generations. For the hundreds of diverse indigenous people in the Arctic, the geopolitical competition for new resources, made more readily available because of climate change, threatens to destroy their way of life. The people of the Arctic have a deep cultural and spiritual connection to their land and their ocean, which connects them to each other and to the natural world upon which they all depend for survival. We have so much to learn from them, not the least of which is the critical need for radical collaboration beyond boundaries, beyond families, beyond nations. We all must cooperate for a higher purpose and ensure that these fragile ecosystems and its people's rich history are protected. The Arctic Forum embodies this spirit of radical collaboration, cooperation without boundaries for a higher purpose. A great example of this cooperation without boundaries happened in part through the Arctic Circle Forum dialogues. In October of 2018, 9 often competing nations came together and agreed on a 16-year moratorium on commercial Arctic fishing that will safeguard an area about the size of the Mediterranean. This was a great example of countries coming together to collectively support a fragile ecosystem which is undergoing unprecedented change. This is the art of the possible when we radically collaborate without boundaries for a higher purpose than short-term gain. The Arctic is an incredible place. Besides the bottom of the ocean, it is one of the least explored places on this planet. It could offer new and groundbreaking clues to advance our understanding of the world's atmosphere and climate. It is a place important for science, important for people, and important for nature. But it's also the canary in the coal mine for global warming. It is a visual, recognizable casualty of warming temperatures. But other than many of you in this room, most people on Earth will never see it and will never hear what it would say to us if it could tell humanity what it is happening to it under our watch. About 5 years ago, Conservation International embarked on an ambitious campaign to change this and to give a voice to nature, to help people hear what places like the Arctic would say to us if she could speak. We developed the Nature is Speaking campaign to not only give nature a voice, but to also reframe why conservation is important, reinforcing our core belief that people need nature if we are to safeguard our future on this planet. This series includes films personifying different elements of nature, narrated by big-name artists like Julia Roberts, Harrison Ford, Jiang-Wen Li, Jiang Wen, Donnie Yen, and more than 50 others from around the world. So as we embark on our meetings today and discuss and plan how to work together in a rapidly changing Arctic, I want to leave you with this video called Ice, voiced in Mandarin by the actor Lian Chao-wei, a reminder of the stunning beauty and fragility of the Arctic and the importance of protecting the one and only place like it in the world. Thank you.
I am ice. I move slowly. I keep the world cool. Well, I used to. But humans keep warming this planet. I try to warn you. I send pieces of me thundering into the ocean. You do nothing. I raise sea levels. You do nothing. It has taken you decades to notice. Perhaps I'm not so slow after all.